Hi guys, welcome to Chrissy's Books. I am your girl Chrissy. Thank you for tuning in to this week's book review. Okay, so I don't know why it's taking me so long to do book reviews. I mean, I have like 5 books that I need to like get out on YouTube and like on my book review website, but life just gets busy. But here I am with my next book review. For this week, I have a really big bestseller book that I have been dying to read for a minute. I have had this book on my bookshelf for like 4 years, but finally getting around to reading it because a movie came out on Netflix based from this book, and I refused to watch the movie before reading the book. So for this week's book, I am reviewing Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So I am definitely so late in reading this book. Like, this book has been a bestseller. Like, it has not moved from the New York Times bestseller list, you guys. It's been there for a really long time. It came out in 2018. Yeah, it's been a bestseller for that long. Like, that's how many people have read this book. And I've been told by so many people how amazing this book is. So finally, I am reading it. I literally bought it when it came out, and it just was sitting on my bookshelf for the longest time. I don't know why I didn't really read it. But also I was kind of scared because, you know, everybody was saying such good things about it, and I was like, I don't know, am I gonna like this book? Because everybody's raving about it. So I thought I'd like let the hype die down, and I let it die down for too long. So in case you don't know, there is a movie on Netflix from Reese Witherspoon's Hello Sunshine collection. And I didn't want to watch the movie before reading the book first because I have the book. So yeah, that's what kind of spurred me on to read it. So yeah, let's get into what Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens is all about. We follow a young girl called Kaya, who is known to the local townspeople as the Marsh Girl. For years, the townspeople have made up all sorts of rumors about her, such as her wild, unruly, or she's unfit for society. So in late 1969, when the popular Chase Andrews is found dead, locals immediately suspect her. But Kaya is not what they say. A born naturalist with just 1 day of school, she takes life's lessons from the land, learning the real ways of the world from the dishonest signals of the fireflies. But while she has the skills to live in solitude forever, the time comes when she yearns to be touched and loved. Drawn to 2 young men from town who are each intrigued by her wild beauty, Kaya opens up herself to a new and startling world, until the unthinkable happens. Where the Crawdads Sing is a coming-of-age mystery and an ode to the natural world, especially the marshlands of the Carolinas. This is a thought-provoking and deeply moving debut from Delia Owens, and Owens reminds us that we are forever shaped by the child within us, while also subject to the beautiful and violent secrets that nature keeps. So that's what Where the Crawdads Sing is all about. Let's get into my review for Where the Crawdads Sing. You guys, so this book, I don't know why it took me so long to read this absolute masterpiece of an incredible book with amazing storytelling and writing. I was blown away. Like, I think because I had like low expectations because I didn't want to like be disappointed, because this book has been a bestseller for the longest time. I don't know if you follow bestsellers, but it's just been up there forever and ever since it came out. So I was really pleasantly surprised by how amazing it was from like page 1. I don't even know where to begin, but maybe let's start with the storytelling itself. Immediately upon picking up this book, you're instantly transported to the hot and sticky marshlands of North Carolina. And my goodness, like, it was amazing. Like, you really felt like you were like in North Carolina, in the marshes, in the hot, sticky, like just massive mosquitoes and all the noises that you would hear. And I've been to the South, so it is really like that. So she did an amazing job describing the setting of this book. And I think that's really important because you just get transported. Every time I picked up this book, I was like transported to the Carolinas. I really loved how this book had a really proper beginning, middle, and end. Like, it felt like a complete read, you know? Like, you were just like, from page 1, you're just hooked. And then you just want to keep coming back and reading it. So it had a really good beginning, storytelling, and middle, and it had a really, really fantastic ending. The character development as well was really great. Then there's not a whole lot of characters in this book, which is really nice. You have the one protagonist, Kaya, and then you have the two guys that she's into, Chase and, oh my god, I can't remember his name. The other guy, there's another guy. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of characters, so it's really easy to follow along and definitely get into the story. We follow Kaya from adolescence and into her senior years. So it is literally telling the story of her life. And the author did a fantastic job in describing how Kaya grew up, the difficulties that she faced, and how she became the adult that she is in the book. I really, really loved the protagonist of this story. You're always sort of rooting for her and you understand her deep loneliness and struggles. I thought Kaya's character was fantastic and it was really, she felt real. Like, she felt like she could be a person out there living in a marsh, like just really surviving off the wild, and also is just longing to like have some kind of companionship too. I feel like every one of us could relate to Kaya in some way. So the character was just absolutely amazing and very, very, very believable. I also really liked how tough she was, you know, like she's this girl who grew up in the marsh all by herself and she fended for herself. And I just really loved her resilience. And I loved her tough, like gritty exterior, but actually when you get to know her, she's so shy and she doesn't really know how to be around people. She didn't grow up with a lot of people around her, so she doesn't really know how to behave when she's around people. She's very shy, but that girl can defend herself, like, and you do not want to mess with Kaya. So I really do love that she's a bit of a softie inside, but what a complex and amazing character, you know, with all the crazy issues that she has going on. I don't want to spoil it, you have to read it, but it was amazing. The third thing that I want to get into that I absolutely love, or the third feature, I need to stop saying thing, is the writing. The writing in this book was like, with that emoji that's like, you know, or like, it was so good. This book, yeah. Delia Owens is an amazing writer. I can't believe like this is her first fiction book that she's written. She has a really amazing life, actually. I kind of read a little bit about her because I was like, this woman can write. Okay. I felt really, really full and satisfied after reading this book. The writing was some of the best writing in fiction that I've read in a really, really long time. Like, it's been a long time since I've read a book that I'm like, wow, this is some really good writing. This is really good storytelling. She needs to come out with more books because it's amazing. But also if she doesn't, that's cool too, because this is a really good book. And also what I really loved is how descriptive she was about everything. She was very descriptive about the environment, about the feel, about the sounds of the marshes. She was really, really descriptive about the food. Food is a really big feature in this book. It was so nice to like read about all of the amazing like Southern culture food that you would get in that time, and actually right now really, because food is a big, big thing in the South. So I really loved how she was very descriptive when she talked about food, and you almost felt like you were eating the food too. Like, it was really, really well written and very, very descriptive. All right, so let's get into my rating for Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. So I gave Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens a rating of 10 out of 10, people. Yes! This was like, I knew it was a 10 out of 10 when I first started reading it. I was like, I mean, she can't go wrong because I'm already loving it. I loved this book. It was excellent. I have like no critique to give it. It was the perfect length. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. Like, you just felt like satisfied after reading this book. It was so good. Highly recommend it. 10 out of 10. And if I were to describe where the Crawdads sing with 4 words, they are, and I'm reading from my phone because I can't remember all my words. So the first word is satisfying. This, I think I said that like 10 times, because this book was very satisfying to read. When you finish it, you were like, oh, that was a really good book. Like, that was so good. It was very filling. It's a well-rounded story, and really good book. Amazing plot. And a really amazing ending. This book had it all, and that last line in this book was like the cherry on top. Loved that last line. You know, when you just read a last line and you're like, wow, that was really good. It was so good. It was satisfying. Loved it. Second word is poetic. And not just because of the poetry. You guys, is actually, if you're a poetry lover, this book actually mentions quite a lot of poetry in it. So it's really, really good if you're into poetry. But I'm not just saying poetry because of the poems in the book. This book in itself was like poetry. Like, it was just so descriptive, and I really loved it. It was so descriptive in the food. It really described the marsh really well, the air, the ambiance, all the birds, just all the little creatures in this world. It was just very, very like lush and ethereal, you know. So yeah, that just really gave it poetic vibes to me. So yeah, poetic is the second word. The third word is atmospheric. It's just like, wow, this story, it was atmospheric. This book really just takes you on a journey, you know, from her where she grew up in the marsh up until like the end. So, and it just felt very atmospheric. It had a really nice flow. Like, it was really good. The fourth word is humbling. This book really draws you back down to like Mother Earth. It shows you about human behavior. It shows you that the simplest things in life are actually the grandest things in life. Yeah, made that up myself, guys. But yeah, it was just very humbling because it's a big story, but also it's just like, it really takes you down to the roots, like tells you what's important in life or shows you what's important in life. So yeah, those are my 4 words. And to wrap up this book review, if you are a person that loves an unputdownable book, then this is the one for you. I was genuinely excited to like run to bed every night and read this book because I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, I can't wait to read this book later. And that's like, you know, 10 hours until I get to read it. So I whizzed right through it. Like, I think I read this book in like, well, usually I read a book in like a week, but I think I read it in like 4 days or something. Like, I really just wanted to keep reading this book. It was so good. Very, very good, satisfying book, really good plot, really well developed characters. Every character in this book was just like key to the story. And also, if you've ever felt like an outcast, or if you're a survivor, you've been through a lot, then this book is going to be your jam. If you're like living off the land, or if that's your thing, which is definitely my thing, I'm going to be doing that in the future. So I really related to this book and just sort of like living off the land, being a bit of an outcast, doing your own thing, you know. So this is a really good book for any of the things that I just mentioned. If you're a solitude lover, a food lover, and also, most of all, if you just like some good old storytelling and you want a really good fiction book to read, this is a really good atmospheric, poetic, and humbling read. So 10 out of 10. Loved it. And, oh, let's talk about the movie. So after reading the book, I think like the next day or 2 days later, I watched the movie on Netflix. And I have to say, the book was better. The book was better. I really liked the look of the actor, Daisy Edgar Jones. She's also in that really good show, Normal People. highly recommend that show. She was amazing in it. She really looked like Kaya. Like, I really do believe, like, if I imagined Kaya, she would be Daisy Edgar Jones. But I really had a big issue with the fact that she just didn't have an accent. Like, she didn't have like a southern accent, especially if you're growing up in the marshes. Like, why was her accent so basic American? Like, I really couldn't get over that as somebody who was watching the movie, especially because the other characters around her all had like very strong southern accents, and it just didn't feel believable to me, like, that she was from the marshes, because her accent was just so, like, she's English, the actor is English. I'm not saying she did a terrible job. She actually, her acting as Kaya was pretty good. Like, she was amazing as Kaya. I do believe like she captured Kaya's essence, but the accent just ruined it for me. Like, but you usually should have some kind of accent, you know, if you're growing up in the marsh in the South and you don't have an education. Like, she just, I don't know, like, it just wasn't believable. So that's like the one big flaw for me. And also, I feel like they didn't really describe food a lot in the movie, where the book really talks about food a lot and is very descriptive about food. So that's another thing that I thought that they didn't do a good job of in the movie. But they did do a really good job with the sort of atmosphere of the marsh. The characters were really good. I thought Daisy Edgar Jones was really good in it. It's just like the accent killed it for me. So I was like, the book was better. But definitely watch it. It's a good movie if you want like a good little romance film. Right, now let's get into my song pick for Where the Crawdads Sing. So for my song pick, I actually wanted to pick a song from the movie. I just wanted to see like if I'd feel inspired by listening to the soundtrack. You know, the official soundtrack for the movie itself on Netflix. And I had to listen, and immediately after hearing the first track on the first track on the soundtrack, it was just like, it captured the essence of this book 100%. I listened to a few other songs, and then I was just like, nah, this is the song, this is the one. It just has a very atmospheric sound to it. So song pick for Where the Crawdads Sing is Carolina by Taylor Swift. It's so atmospheric. It just fits the vibe. It feels quite like moody, atmospheric, a bit lonely. Like, yeah, it's just a really good song. So thank you so much, you guys, for watching my book review. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment, let me know if you've read this book. Let me know if you watched the movie. Do you like the movie or the book better? Like I said, I like the book. It was so good. And I'm finally glad that I read this book. So it was a good read. So stay tuned. I'll be back for more book reviews. I just need to get my ish together because I literally have like 4 books that I need to get out that I've read already. So thank you. And please like, subscribe, and have a great week.